10 years ago, in 2013, one Singapore dollar equaled 2.5 Malaysian ringgit, while today, one Singapore dollar amounts to almost 3.5 Malaysian ringgit. To add more context, let's also compare the Malaysian ringgit to the US dollar and its northern neighbor, Thailand. As we can see today, one US dollar provides over 50% additional value in Malaysian ringgit, and one Thai baht yields 30% more Malaysian ringgit compared to a decade ago. And while the Malaysian ringgit has fallen to its lowest level since the Asian financial crisis, the portrayal of the Malaysian ringgit's depreciation as an outright failure is overly simplistic and doesn't tell the whole story. As a matter of fact, a weak currency is not necessarily a bad thing. A nation's currency forms the foundation of economic exchange, impacting the price of goods and services. While it is true a weak currency does cause imported goods to become more expensive, which subsequently leads to increased costs for the local populace. On the other hand, as imports become more expensive, exports become cheaper for countries looking to buy Malaysian goods and services, thereby boosting Malaysia's domestic industries and helping in the creation of jobs for Malaysians. Before we explore what has caused the drastic depreciation in the ringgit's value, please don't forget to like the video and hit the subscribe button. Supporting the channel will greatly help us in creating more videos like this. Malaysia is a country that heavily relies on exports to drive its economy. It's known for being one of the top export-oriented nations in the world. Let's explore a couple of key industries that contribute significantly to Malaysia's exports. One of the standout features is its dominance in the palm oil industry. Malaysia ranks as the second-largest exporter of palm oil worldwide. This accolade comes as a result of the country's extensive palm oil plantations, advanced processing facilities, and its role as a vital global supplier of palm oil-based products. You might not realize it, but palm oil is found in many everyday products, from food items to cosmetics and even biodiesel. Malaysia doesn't stop there and also boasts a substantial presence in the energy sector. The country is the 10th largest exporter of refined petroleum products in the world. Through the company Petroleum Nasional Berhad, more commonly known as Petronas, it explores, produces, refines and markets petroleum products and petrochemicals on a massive scale, which has played a pivotal role in supporting Malaysia's economic well-being since 1974. However, since the COVID-19 pandemic, Malaysia's biggest export country, China, which accounts for 15.5% of its exports, has seen a sluggish recovery. Malaysia also posted 6 straight months of decline in exports. This decrease in demand for Malaysia's exports is tied to the overall decrease in demand for the currency. Alongside the COVID-19 crisis, as the world battled high levels of inflation, the Central Bank of Malaysia, Bank Negara Malaysia, increased interest rates by a cumulative 125 basis points, currently sitting at 3%. On the other side of the world, the United States Federal Reserve raised interest rates by a much larger magnitude of 425 basis points, to a range of 5.25 to 5.5%. Bank Negara Malaysia's decision to pause interest rate hikes since July this year is also adding headwinds for the currency. In theory, if you had 100 ringgit today, you could convert it to US dollars, place it in a fixed deposit. In theory, if you had 100 ringgit today, you could convert it to US dollars and place it in a US dollar fixed deposit. 1 year from now, you would have the equivalent of 105.25 Malaysian ringgit versus 103 ringgit if you placed it in a Malaysian ringgit fixed deposit. On top of that, as the US dollar strengthens against the ringgit at approximately 4% at annual rate since the pandemic started, you could get back almost 110 ringgit. Now we can see how the differing interest rates between the US and Malaysia can cause a depreciating spiral to the ringgit due to better alternatives to holding the Malaysian currency. In an attempt to stop this depreciating spiral, the Central Bank of Malaysia tries to intervene in the foreign exchange market. However, the intervention has caused its foreign currency reserve to dip below 100 billion US dollars for the first time since November 2022, showing the limitations the central bank has in what it can do to try to stabilize the currency. The impact of a weak domestic currency is far-reaching. Everyday Malaysians will feel the pinch as their currency depreciates, mainly due to the cost of imported goods and services. If sustained, it will lead to the overall cost of living. Furthermore, as individual Malaysians look to find a solution for themselves, they might look elsewhere to earn their living and seek job opportunities, leading to fears of a potential brain drain. Just look at the state of Johor, which nears the border to Singapore. Eateries in Johor Bahru are struggling to employ and retain cooks as many Malaysian cooks return to Singapore after the pandemic, earning up to 3 times the pay while being sheltered from the depreciating Malaysian ringgit. To retain the cooks, many eatery owners have been offering higher salaries. In general, the salary of a cook in Johor Bahru has increased by about 30% now compared with pre-pandemic times. On the other hand, a weak ringgit is not all doom and gloom. While it makes imports more expensive, it makes other things like exports, tourism, and foreign investments into the country cheaper. Malaysia's unique geography and rich heritage, along with the country's pristine beaches and delicious food, attracts many tourists. The country is on track to surpass its 2023 forecasted tourist arrivals as it expects to receive 18 million visitors over the 16 million visitors the government had initially expected. Tourism employs around 3.61 million people in Malaysia, making up almost a quarter of the country's total employment. The increased spending power of tourists would help to bolster tourist receipts in the country, directly helping the tourism sector and the wider economy. Again, looking at the Singapore-Malaysia border, there is a large disparity in purchasing power from those living and working in Singapore due to both the strength of Singapore's economy and currency. With 360,000 people and 100,000 vehicles crossing the causeway daily, it is one of the busiest land crossing in the world. Spending originating from the stronger Singapore dollar through Singaporeans visiting Malaysia or Malaysians who earn their income in Singapore but spend on goods and services back home largely benefits the populace and economy of the southern states of Malaysia, such as Johor. Since gaining independence in 1957, Malaysia has successfully diversified its economy from one that was initially agriculture and commodity-based to one that now plays host to robust manufacturing and service sectors, which have propelled the country to become a leading exporter of electrical appliances, parts, and components. Malaysia is one of the most open economies in the world, with a trade to GDP ratio averaging over 130% since 2010. Openness to trade and investment has been instrumental in employment creation and income growth, with about 40% of jobs in Malaysia linked to export activities. After the Asian financial crisis of 1997 to 1998, Malaysia's economy has been on an upward trajectory, averaging growth of 5.4% since 2010, and is expected to achieve its transition from an upper-middle-income economy to a high-income economy by 2024. While the COVID-19 pandemic caused this momentum to falter, a weak ringgit could very possibly be what it needs for Malaysia's economy to restart its upward trend. While factors like increasing tourism and exports help to increase demand for the Malaysian ringgit, it will not be sufficient to bolster the currency and stop its continuous depreciation. So what can Malaysia do? The solution that Malaysia hopes will turn the tide would be to transform its economy towards more commercialization and innovation, and moving up the value chain towards more high-value upstream activities. Malaysia is scouting for foreign investors in high-value industries such as electric vehicles, semiconductors, and carbon capture. These investors include German semiconductor company Infineon Technologies, which announced an additional 25 billion ringgit investment in Malaysia. Texas Instruments also announced plans to expand its internal manufacturing footprint in Malaysia with 2 new assembly and test factories in Kuala Lumpur and Malacca. Other notable technological innovation companies such as Tesla and Samsung Engineering have also said they will invest more in the country. Infrastructure projects will also be essential in the transformation of its economy. Infrastructure developments such as the Singapore-Malaysia Rapid Transit System, the expansion of Penang International Airport, and the regeneration of Subang Airport will not only create job opportunities but also facilitate the flow of goods and talent. These large-scale investments into infrastructure and foreign investments could be Malaysia's only saving grace and what is required to stem the bleeding of its currency. As we wrap up our exploration of the factors affecting the Malaysian ringgit's depreciation, it becomes evident that the challenges it faces cannot be resolved by short-term fixes alone. Currency stability is not just a matter of tweaking interest rates or implementing temporary measures. While these short-term solutions can help in the short run, they are insufficient to create a lasting impact. To truly strengthen the ringgit and secure Malaysia's economic future, a more profound transformation is needed. This transformation must involve the diversification of the Malaysian economy. Malaysia must embrace innovation and shift towards higher-value products and services, reducing its reliance on traditional export sectors. Investment in education, research, and technology is paramount. It's these investments that can propel Malaysia into the ranks of innovation-driven economies, fostering sustainable growth and competitiveness. Simultaneously, maintaining strong international trade relationships while exploring new markets is essential. All these efforts will not only stabilize the ringgit but also improve the overall quality of life for Malaysians. It's a long and challenging road, but it's a path to a stronger, more resilient, and prosperous Malaysia. The future of the Malaysian ringgit is tied to the nation's ability to adapt and innovate. It is a future built on the strength of its people, its businesses, and its commitment to sustainable economic development. In the end, it's the collective efforts of Malaysians and their unwavering determination that will set the stage for a brighter and more robust future for the ringgit and the nation it represents. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Let us know what video you want to see next in the comments